started at once. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Outside the Cinema, your weekly source for cult movie discussions. Yep. I'm Bill. It's Chris. We're your hosts. Thanks for hanging out.
We're going to do every review all at once to match the opening of the show.
Just all at once.
You talk about one, I'll talk about the other.
Well, I mean, honestly, there's only like one difference between the two movies this week. So one's found footage and one isn't.
Well, wait. One's during the day, one's at night.
Yep. This week on the show, we are reviewing two films from 2014, and they are both alien abduction films. One of them is even titled Alien Abduction. The other one is titled Extraterrestrial from the Vicious Brothers, the team behind Grave Encounters. That's what we're doing. This is the season finale of OTC.
Oh, is it?
Did you know that?
I didn't know we did seasons.
Yeah, next week we start season 16. So next week's show is the top 6 and bottom 6 from the previous year.
Okay.
So, yep, episode number. I can't go by the numbers anymore because we missed those. What we missed? Maybe like 8-9 weeks over the summer. Yeah. So we have like 20 or so less movies that we covered this year than we normally do. So our list will be a little bit tighter, probably. But what we do when we switch over to the next season, next week is the season premiere, or maybe next week is the season finale. Next week is the season finale, and then the week after that is the start of season 16. But we do our top 6 and our bottom 6 films that we reviewed on the show from the last year. Celebrate the anniversary of the show being a year older. We turned 16, going to get our learner's permit midway through the year, and then crash our dad's car by next December, right?
Yep. And you know what it means when the show turns another year older? That means that my kids will be a year older, the same age as the show.
That's
so I'm
crazy.
Have two 16-year-old kids in my house in March.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Hey, what do you guys want for your birthday? What do you want to do for your 16th birthday? Nothing. It's like they don't.
Cool.
They don't. They with same as me. They feel awkward around birthdays, getting presents. Having to be excited or show whatever. It's a problem. It's a mental thing, and we're just rolling with it. So,
hey,
they'll probably get a couple of friends. They don't want to do anything really big, which is nice because saving money is always good. But I'm just got to make sure that they are 100% on this before, and they're not doing it just because they think it's what we want to hear.
Right.
But yeah, 16. Right. That's a long time.
I forgot that Ellen was like all of the pregnant when we started the show.
Yeah. Almost ready to go.
Yeah, like all of the pregnant when we started the show. Which is why you weren't on a lot of those first early episodes.
Yeah, it was everything was kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just as crazy now.
It is. It's more manageable now because I can reason with the children.
Yes. I'll tell you, it was awesome to see them on Saturday night because I thought about it. I hadn't seen them since 2019, maybe. It's been longer than that. It's a little, shorter than that.
Yeah, there was something in between.
But not much, probably.
Oh, it was, you had a cookout, and that big old bulldog was there, and they loved him.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say his name's Meatball, but it's not.
No, that was Drea.
Yeah.
Drea is no longer with us. She passed away like 2 years ago. But that's my friend Evan and his wife Jocelyn. They have 2 corgis now. They got 2 corgi puppies that are adorable.
Will you let me know if they ever bring them over the house? Because the girls are going to sniff them out of nowhere. They'll be Cheddars.
Yeah, he lives in. Where's he live now? Does he live in North? He lives in North Carolina.
Oh,
South
I didn't
Carolina?
know he moved. Okay.
Where's Charleston?
They
live in Charleston,
in the South. We'll say.
Well, let's say some sort of Carolina.
That's nice.
But yeah, I got to see them on Saturday, which is awesome because we did the friends and family screening of Don't Forget to Leave, which is the first time we've showed it to anybody outside of the inner circle. Actually, this was still inner circle. It was just the bigger inner circle, I guess. It went very well. You were there. It went well, right?
All 4 of us was there. Yeah. People were very happy.
It was cool. Yeah, it was cool, and it was cool to get you out of the house and see you face to face. which I only get a couple times a year now just because of the schedules and the way timing works. But
well, last time,
it was really cool.
we all went and did something with a group of people. We got COVID, and that was a few weeks ago.
I mean, you may get COVID this time too. Who knows?
I got there, I sat down, I'm like, oh shit, I don't have a mask on me.
Yeah, I thought about that too. But it was good. Yeah, we had probably about 80 people.
Nice,
in the
and
room.
it was that was about
Tim's family was there.
All that room could handle, which was good.
Yeah, I think we probably could have fit. Maybe we could have probably done 100, but it would have been tight.
Yeah.
My
only criticism of the entire night was Bridge 9's chairs suck.
They weren't. We rented them.
Those chairs sucked.
Yeah,
I sat down and
they were.
because I've. Oh, I'll get to this in a second. But I sat down and I'm like, oh, why does this hurt so much? And then I'm there for 2 hours and I stand up. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like a stack of loose pebbles.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I don't want to forget. So remember when I was fat? Like super fucking fat? I was a size 44 for my pants. Almost had to go up a size. And then I lost weight. And I continued to lose weight. And now I'm buying pants through the Amazon, try it and send it back. If it doesn't work, you don't pay, whatever it's called. So I ordered a size 42 and they slid right off. Order a size 40 and I can, without any resistance, pull them straight off without a belt.
Nice.
So I ordered a 38 and I was a 38 when I was in shape in high school. What the fuck? That's weird.
Dude, yeah,
That's really weird.
I don't think you're going to be able to go below that just based on the size of your hips.
No. I mean, the bone is right there, but yeah.
Right, yeah. The bone, like your hip bones will stop those from wearing. Because I wear like a 36 or a 34. I mean, I probably wear a 34, but I'm also like 7 inches shorter than you, so.
That's shorter. But I sat down and I'm like, my ass is too bony. Shit.
Yeah, the chairs sucked. I'm sorry about that.
I mean,
renting chairs is not cheap.
No,
I mean, those chairs were still like over $2 a chair to rent. So I could have gone up and gotten the nicer chairs, but it would have cost me
knowing that you had to rent them, I withdraw my complaint. I thought it was their stuff. So
no, it's all good. I'm not disagreeing with you. Why do you think I stood the whole time?
Yeah.
I stood because anytime one of my movies is screening, I can't relax enough to sit down.
That makes complete sense. I get it. Yeah. But
it went really well. Everyone seemed very happy. Tim's family was very happy. There was lots of tears shed. The universal opinion from the room was that it was excellent and everyone enjoyed it. So we're really looking forward to getting it out there for film festivals. There will be also a virtual screening of it that I'm going to open up to our Patreon members. So it'll be a virtual screening that'll be limited to people that supported the Indiegogo, which I think there's a chunk of our Patreon members that also supported the Indiegogo. But since you guys are, the OTC industry I would say that you guys are definitely under the OTC industry's, umbrella as, part of the family. So I'm going to open that up. If you're a member of the Patreon, keep an eye out for a link for that, probably for mid to late February. I got to figure that out because I got to figure out the best way to screen it and stuff. Virtually so that nobody.
I know that I don't know if this works, but a lot of the stuff that we test at work is sent through private password protected Vimeo links. So I don't know anything else about copying.
Yeah, I do a lot of that stuff, but in order to screen it live, I think I'll probably just do it here. I can probably do it on Riverside.
Oh yeah.
I could probably do it on Riverside. So, but we'll figure that out. But keep an eye open. And if you're not a member of the Patreon, please join the Patreon. Patreon.com/outside the cinema. You get advanced screenings of upcoming films.
And it is super nice to see your name on screen.
It is cool, right?
Yeah.
It is cool. This is my first feature solo directed. So I say that, but Kyle is just as much a part of this movie as me. He edited it. He's the producer. He did all, he helped film a large chunk of the interviews. So just my name is on it under director, but it's as much Kyle and I's film as anything else that we've done together. So, but definitely under OTC Industries, we've kind of fallen into the documentary guy and he's going to be the narrative guy. So as you saw with The Woodsman. where he directed The Woodsman, and I produced it and helped shoot it. So, yeah, so keep an eye out for that. We also had some leftover merchandise if anyone is interested in that. Big Cartel. Is it OTC Industries Big Cartel, or is it?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
Hang on, I'll tell you. Go to the dashboard.
I do know I totally forgot to wear the shirt that I have with the
OTCindustries.bigcartel.com. We have a bunch of leftover merch. Actually, no, that's not true. We don't have a bunch of leftover merch. We have a handful of leftover merch. I put it up on Tuesday and I think I sold all but 2 hoodies.
Oh, nice.
And maybe like a handful of the Slug t-shirts are left. There's a bunch of the names t-shirts because those were new. We made a shirt that has Tim's band names on it. It says Transit and Misser and Off and On and Coal Collective and Tim Landers Forever. And they're
but
cool.
Not you, Guillermo.
Not you, Guillermo. Fucking guy. So yeah. Keep your eyes open with that stuff. It was really cool, and I felt a lot of love, and it was really nice, and something I will never forget. So, speaking of things that I would like to forget, though, the films for this week: Extraterrestrial and Alien Abduction, both from 2014. Whew. Okay, so the difference between these two: Alien Abduction is a found footage alien abduction film, and Extraterrestrial is a narrative one. Chris, what do you think we should start with?
Well, I'm going to start with an apology from me saying that I thought both of them were found footage because that's what I remembered, but I had watched it years ago. So,
well, there's definitely another alien abduction one that we've seen from around that time period that was another found footage one, and not the one that we covered last year. There is definitely another one. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm good with either because I have pluses and minuses probably in equal amounts for both, but for different things. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's do Alien Abduction first. Let's play the trailer.
Setting up camp for a very long weekend. Done! Look at that!
I make fire.
The skills of the lighter are unrivaled. No one is leaving anyone behind if a bear attacks.
Nope, we're all gonna stick together and be eaten as a family.
Look. Are those stars? Oh my god. Stars don't move like that.
Okay, what the hell is that? Oh my god, they're UFOs.
Hundreds of residents are reporting strange lights in the skies of Round Mountain, North Carolina.
Is that an accident?
There aren't any people.
This is really weird. Hello? Hey! What was that? We have to get help!
We're lost in the woods and my family is in danger.
Mom, hurry!
There's a cabin down here.
Y'all trespassing.
We are in trouble.
What the hell's that? Get behind me. Everybody up here knows something weird's going on. Ever see them lights? Folk go missing.
Hail Mary, full of grace, may the Lord be with thee. It knows where we are. No!
All right, Alien Abduction, directed by Maddie Beckerman, written by Robert Lewis. Maddie Beckerman is best known as he's done some production work on some other stuff. He was also, did he direct American Satan?
I haven't heard of that one. What is that?
That's the one where the singer from Black Veil Brides plays an aspiring musician and like sells his soul to the devil or whatever. So he's only directed The Row, which has very bad reviews, and Alien Abduction, but he's actually worked quite a bit as a producer. He's a producer on American Satan. He's a producer on Isolation and The Experiment. And he's got some stuff in the the pipeline here. Iceman, Confessions of a Mafia Contract Killer is in development. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, so this film obviously is a found footage style film. It's starring Catherine Sigismund, Corey Eade, Riley Polanski, Gillian Clare, and Jeff Bowser. Found footage film. We are introduced to the footage with some. So it's presented, and this is kind of a weird one because it's presented as a finished documentary, but we only have interview footage that's like filmed for the documentary at the top of the film. Just a couple parts where they kind of just set the idea that the Brown Mountains in North Carolina, apparently the Brown Mountain Lights is a real thing.
I got a thing up about this that I will find it.
All right, go for it.
Brown Mountain Lights is from Wikipedia, so it's real.
Take it for
they're
what it is.
purported ghost lights near Brown Mountain in North Carolina. The earliest published references to strange lights there are from around 1910. At about the same time, electrical lighting was becoming widespread in the area. In 1922, a USGS scientist, George R. Mansfield, did the unthinkable. He used a map and a telescope to prove that the lights that were being seen were trains, car headlights, and brush fires. With the original sightings of the early 20th century having been explained, storytellers have been creating imaginary pre-electrification histories of the lights ever since, and the nature of claimed encounters with the lights appear to have changed over the years to suit changing cultural expectations. So it's sort of cryptid, mythological, whatever you want to call it, kind of thing. Because it's been swamp gas, it's been all kinds of stuff. What are those lights? The Scottish lights in the forest. It was in Brave. She followed him in that. But it's like, I'm gonna find that because it's gonna drive me crazy if I don't. But this movie is Project Blue Book is in charge of the whole thing, and it's like they put the documentary together once the camera is recovered, which doesn't make sense because you wouldn't need an explanation of what's going on from those people if it was a Project Blue Book thing. It would say incident number 742, West Turnpike 93, Brown Mountains incident, whatever, people involved. It just text on the screen like a friggin' SCP file or something. So yeah, Will-O-Wisp. That's what it is. Will-O-the-Wisp. Those lights, like swamp gas kind of things. I didn't look it up. I didn't type it in. I remembered with my brain.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Fucking mental illness wrecking my memory. So, yeah.
It's also age.
Well,
age does that too.
Yeah. But yeah. Thanks.
So we have the family of Katie, Corey, Riley, Jillian, and Peter.
Yeah, just a normal tense.
They're
family.
going camp. Yep, they're going for a weekend camping trip. The youngest son is autistic. They make sure they tell you that multiple times.
It just blew right past me. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because they said it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
They used it as the crutch to explain why he was continuously holding the camera.
Okay, no, that's fine. If that's his thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that works.
I'm okay
with
that.
I mean, things get crazy enough towards the end. You're kind of like, well, first of all, like he wouldn't, because he would have dropped the camera at some point, or it would have broken, or it also, like, we do see him recharge the camera a few times, but like,
yeah,
the battery would have died on it.
Yeah, there's that
multiple
stuff.
times.
But I would think that if and this is going to sound insulting, but if filming everything is his trains, because my trains is spaceships, if that's his special interest, and then aliens start showing up, you're not going to stop.
Probably,
right?
yeah. No,
especially if that's your hyper-focus.
It's a good job to justify why the filming continues.
Yeah, yeah.
So they are, they're traveling, and they're not like outdoorsy people, but it seems like they've probably gone camping a few times, and we get a lot of the, trying to set the tents up and going for hikes, and it's beautiful up here and all this stuff. And then the first night, there's some weird lights they see in the distance. They actually showed it in the preview where like the lights were in the sky and they were moving in ways they shouldn't be moving and stuff. So,
yeah, they're just
they find,
bumbling
like,
suburbians.
yeah, they're just like they're totally fine. The mother and father are like very like ordinary like middle class white people.
A little bit of argument here and there. Nothing.
Yeah,
awful.
the older daughter is a pain in the ass. The older son's a wise guy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
They're
I forgot to mute
archetypical
that.
characters.
Yeah, and the young autistic son is the one that's like they dote upon him because they he needs the attention, which is perfect. Like it all works
Yes.
fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing special about it. It just is what it is.
Right.
But so as they start to travel, they're trying to find their way to their next campsite, but nobody has phone reception because you're out in the mountains. And this is also 2014, so cell reception is not what it is today.
Yep.
Totally believable. But they've got a GPS and they're following the GPS. And the mother makes a nice quip about how like, well, the Google directions that I have don't say what the GPS says. And the guy's like, well, the GPS is current. You're offline with your phone. So we're going to follow the GPS.
That's
Which again,
fair. Yeah.
okay.
So far, decent decisions.
Yep. Then they do the, oh my God, we're running out of gas, which, okay.
I think, considering how surprised he was that they were low on gas, is that gas was removed from the car because they wanted to capture them out by the tunnel. What do you think?
Okay. I'll buy it.
Because otherwise...
Or they did something.
Yeah, if you're driving into a mountain range, which isn't that in the Appalachian Mountains? The Brown Mountains?
Yeah, it's the lower
Yeah,
end
you're
of
going to
them.
want to bring a fucking gas tank with your gas tank. So he would have checked. Absolutely would have checked. So at least it's not as dumb as when, the guy put the hole in the gas tank in that other movie where the girl was trapped at the gas station and the motherfucker didn't smell leaking gas. So
Yeah,
this is just gas is removed. They probably just drank it or whatever because they're aliens.
So they're lost in the hills. They hit what did they hit? They were driving and they were kind of arguing because once you get lost, everyone gets super tense.
A crow
They hit
fell
was
out of
a
the
crow?
sky, right?
Yeah.
And then all the crows fall out of the sky at some point.
At some point, yeah. So they then drive up to this tunnel, and there's like a tunnel going through one of the mountains. These are like, windy mountain roads.
Yep.
But all of the cars are abandoned in the tunnel. There's like a whole bunch of like regular cars, there's vans, there's trucks, and they stop like trying to go and like because they can't get by, and they're like, what the hell's going on? They get out and they're like looking for people, and they see these shadows off in the distance. It's our first look at the aliens.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty effective shot looking down the tunnel with the aliens in the light.
Yeah, because he's all the way down at the end of the arch, silhouetted with the blown out light around him. And then the movie does, a fairly decent jump scare, which I was okay with.
Yeah, it worked. It worked. So they're running for their lives, but the father gets, I guess, possessed or I don't know. Something happens and the father can't move and he's screaming and then he disappears. So they're running out. The father has now been abducted in alien abduction.
Here in this because I was dumb and I picked two movies that are extraordinarily similar. So it says he's engulfed in light, convulses, and then disappears.
Right. So now they're on the run. They're being chased by the aliens.
For the listeners, we're trying to keep track of like 14 people that have been abducted over two movies. So each one, one disappears in a phone booth, one gets crunched in half. Like, what movies are those? I don't remember. So I'm gonna have to.
I'm trying my hardest to keep them straight. So
I won't do that.
The rest
again.
of the family, the daughter, the two sons, and the mother are running for their lives through the woods.
Yeah.
They feel like they're being chased by these things. They can hear them in the distance, and they find a cabin in the woods. And one thing that I don't want to find is a random cabin in the woods of the Appalachian Mountains, North Carolina.
Yeah, this reminded me, and I was actually kind of okay with this because I want to see a feature-length version of this story. And this was inspired, I think, by The Whisper in Darkness, where you have the one dude up in Vermont that's like edging onto the territory of the Migo, and they don't like him, and they want to run him off, so they're constantly attacking him. And he has dogs and he has shotguns, and he doesn't want anybody to come and visit him. And that's what we got going here. So that part I was okay with, because I'm like, nobody really riffs on that Lovecraft story. So okay, good. Except he was he was a little more manic than the other guy.
So we meet Sean, who is the North Carolina guy living in the woods. He's got the shotgun, and he's like, "Hey, you're trespassing. You need to get off my property right now."
Yeah, and he's doing it for their safety, not anything else.
Right? Yeah, he just wants to be left alone.
Yeah.
But then they hear something in the woods, and they catch a quick glimpse of something. And this I really like. Sean immediately was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
Get behind me, get in the house." And I liked that, like, he was like, "Get the fuck out of here." Oh wait, no, these people are in danger.
Right.
Like, okay, get in the house. We can get in the house.
Yeah, so he's not just a reclusive asshole. He's a normal person.
Yeah, just wants to be left alone. That's all. Really,
he doesn't want to say, "Hey, people are getting folded up into teeny tiny Amazon boxes and taken away. You might want to leave." He's like, "Hey, you should." Shit, they're here. Let's go.
Yep. Then there's a whole lot of what the hell was that, and all those things kind of going on.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
His brother had gone into town and hasn't come back yet. They tell him about the father, how the father disappeared, and he does the whole, like, backwoods guy making fun of the autistic kid. But then he kind of like comes around, and when he kind of like understands, and he was like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, you just And then they also do a good thing where, like, every time the aliens get near, the signal on the camera gets scrambled.
Right.
So he's like, "Hey, you tell me." Oh, actually, this makes sense as to why he kept filming too.
Yeah.
He goes, "Hey, you tell me if that camera gets messy. You let me know, because we know they're coming."
Yeah, and that pulls from Silent Hill with the static on the radio, and Slender Man, and all those other cryptid style things, ghosts even, which is why I get this one confused with the one the Grave Encounters guys did, because it shares a lot of the haunted stuff with Grave Encounters.
Sort of, yeah.
But the other one doesn't. The one that the Grave Encounters guys did, it's totally different, which is good. They should do different things. But yeah.
Right. So from this point on, really, it's just like it's like slasher in the woods. These things are trying to track them. These things are trying to get them. And they're trying to, get free. So Sean, like, tries to go find his brother, and then he comes back for them, and then they try to split up, and then, like, they get holed up in a barn. And in what is probably the most effective scenes, like, the mother steps outside and gets caught in the beam of light.
Yep.
And, like, you would sense, like, it lifts her off the ground and just basically snaps her in, like, to pieces.
Yeah. I liked it visually, but storytelling, I don't understand why. But also,
It doesn't make any sense.
This is an alien intelligence from beyond the stars, so it doesn't need to make sense to us. So, I mean, I can see both sides of that.
So it sucks her up. It sucks the Sean dude up, and then it's we forgot to mention that it had taken the older brother at some point when they were in the cabin. Doesn't matter. Spoiler alert: everybody gets taken.
Yeah, because I think any intelligence that can travel across space can manage to pick off 6 people.
Yeah, among others. So then it gets a little crazy when the kid gets abducted, but yet the camera continues to film, and then, like, what, the alien just throws it out of the spaceship?
It sort of felt like removing all the extraneous stuff, like it would be like earrings, rings, watch, all that stuff, just to keep organics for whatever they're doing. That's what I figured.
Right. But it's the one thing that, like, it goes, like, the idea that they throw it out of a spaceship and you see it falling, like the lens, it's still recording.
Yeah. I did like the shot
lenses
that it did as it's falling. It looked nice.
Right. But it would never survive.
It wouldn't stay on. Absolutely not. No.
And when it hits the ground, it would smash into a million pieces from that height.
Yeah.
It actually would burn up. It would burn up re-entering the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. It was actually pretty high up.
Yeah. Like the shot when you see it leave the ship.
Yeah. It's
like falling from above.
You can see the edge of the atmosphere. Yeah.
So with that aside, though, this was decent. I think I'm not gonna fawn over it, and I think I'm even being as kind to it as I am is because we watched the other movie.
Yeah.
In terms of it being a found footage film, it works for the most part. They play by their rules that they set. The idea, though, that it was footage leaked from the U.S. Air Force, but also Project Blue Book was involved. So, like, is a little unclear as to where this film that we're watching actually came from.
Right.
And then the stuff that they stick into the credits, like this is another one you got to watch the credits pretty much all the way through, because then the people start coming back, like the father returns in the credits.
Right, which is also how Grave Encounters 2 ended, which confused my brain even more after I put both of these movies together. But and it would have been nice to have a follow-up to this and see what would happen, or follow another family and have similar things happen, and it all ends up in the same place. The father obviously should be taken to wherever Project Blue Book is headquartered. That would have been fun. That would have been a neat follow-up.
Yeah. I think this did okay. I don't think this was exactly like, it didn't like blow up or anything like that. I thought the acting was pretty good for the most part. I liked when the cop showed up and they get in the cop car and then the aliens take the cop.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty good. Because he's all like making the call. He's like, we need EMS up here. We got all kinds of shit going on. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's entertaining. It's you know, it's worth it. I think it's one way. I guess we'll probably. All right, Chris, do you recommend? What's your grade for Alien?
I'm gonna give this a lukewarm recommend. It's not up there with the top found footage ones I would recommend. It's not up there with the top alien abduction movies that I would watch. Although I have watched this. Probably this would be the third time I've seen it since it came out 10 years ago. Because every now and then I'm like, hey, was this any good? I can't remember. And then I got to watch it and I'm like, yeah, it sort of was. And I liked that the arguing between the family members came off as believable.
Yeah, it felt natural. It definitely felt natural.
they all felt like they'd spent time together before this, at least. Part of me really wants to understand the motivation of the extraterrestrials, but knowing that it's a different type of intelligence, we won't know. So I got to get over that. That's my own issue. The violence toward the humans when they're abducted was surprising. I didn't expect it to be that gruesome, I guess. Because usually it's, hey, it's a beam of light. I'm taking up. Oh, they're sticking a needle in my eye. Okay, whatever. This is different. This is a little angry.
Yeah, not as angry as the other movie,
right.
But
and the aliens, when they showed them, they were fine. They were your stereotypical grays, and that's okay. Because why wouldn't it be? I mean, it's the subconscious fear in anybody that has heard of this stuff. So. Pretty mediocre recommend, and I'm gonna give it a C+ because I liked it, but it could have been more. But it was entertaining for the most part.
I'm gonna agree with you pretty much across the board. It's thoroughly fine. Fine. Definitely watch it once. You'll probably enjoy it. It's not something you need to revisit 3 times.
Well, I go back with things that will comfort me.
That's fair. Yeah, it's thoroughly fine. So it's a tepid right. It's a recommend, but I'm not saying like you got to rush out and see it. It's available to watch. Actually, no, this one's not on streaming services.
No, I don't think it's anywhere. I have a copy of this, so
yeah. So you can find it if you want to find it, but it's not on it. But it's fine. It's fine. It's not great. It's not awful. I mean,
right.
For the most part, I think it looks good. They follow, one of my biggest things when we rank found footage films is whether they follow the rules that they set, and they do for the most part. I would say that they do.
Yeah.
It's a little bit unbelievable when the camera falls from outer space and manages to continue recording when it hits the ground.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been. They could have gone with a solid state drive, and the camera just blinks out at that point, and the footage would be saved. But whatever, that's fine. You did say that it didn't follow its you said people were mic'd. We were talking off show.
Oh yeah. I didn't even mention that.
And that's what kind of ruins it for you, which I get. I totally get that.
Oh, I'd actually forgot. I watched this first.
Okay.
Right, and so that was bugging me. So the thing that bugged the shit out of me. Actually, I'm glad you brought this up because I forgot about it. Is that when we meet them, he's filming with just like a 2010 camcorder that's probably got mini DV tapes or whatever, but everybody's audio is pristine.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's audio is pristine, so everyone is actually mic'd up wearing lavalier mics, and there's probably somebody also with some boom mics. The audio is incredible, and that's tough to believe when you know the camera that's being used is a camcorder. Now, I get, yes, you cannot have camcorder audio for a feature-length film. You'll go fucking insane. Right. But, like, there's ways to make it so that maybe, like, when Dad's not facing the camera and he's 20 feet away, it doesn't sound like he's standing in front of you.
Yeah, and if the U.S. government is going to have this, then they could subtitle his stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
No, I get you.
There's ways to do it and keep your decent audio, but not make it be like professional audio from everyone when they go camping.
Yeah. But I mean, this way it's less jarring to the average viewer than to go back and forth from reading to listening. So I don't know.
And not everyone's. I mean, that I caught that because as we were talking before the show, I've been going manic over the audio for my current documentary.
Right.
So like,
that makes sense if it's foremost on your mind.
Front and center for me. So what did you give for a grade?
C+.
C+. I'm going to go with a straight C. Straight C. I don't think you're going to be bummed if you watch it. You're not going to be pissed off. But again, it's not something you necessarily need to like rush out and see or anything.
Right. Right. It's better than the last one that we had watched, which was ambitious, but pacing was terrible in that one.
The guy that had like the ocular implant or whatever.
Great ideas. For low budget, really decent effects and makeup, but it was just so slow at times.
Yeah,
it was borderline a cure for insomnia in some scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
A new cut could make it very interesting, but whatever. Okay, so.
All right. Next up, we also have from 2014 Extraterrestrial, which is available to watch on a number of streaming services. You can watch it on Tubi. You can watch it on AMC Plus. You can watch it on IFC. Directed by Colin Minahan and Stuart Ortiz. If you go on to IMDb, the film says directed by the Vicious Brothers, but Colin Minahan is listed as the
sole
only director.
Yeah.
The sole director, but him and Stuart Ortiz are listed together as the writers.
Right.
So take that for what it's worth. We were introduced to the Vicious Brothers through Grave Encounters, which is still, I think, I haven't rewatched it in a while.
I have,
but and it still holds up, right?
It is one of my favorite, like premiere. What is it called? Debut films from someone in the horror genre. It was fantastic. It was so outside of my expectations. Yes, I am a fan.
So Colin Minahan and the Vicious Brothers cut their teeth doing music videos. They continue to do music videos after the release of Grave Encounters, but like they did music videos for like Theory of a Dead Man, like Papa Roach, Mariana's Trench. Then they did Grave Encounters, and then they did like some like Silverstein videos. They even did a Carly Rae Jepsen video.
Hey, you know what?
And then they did Extraterrestrial.
Yep.
Did you see the other two films he did? What Keeps You Alive and Stains the Sands Red?
I gotta check What Keeps You Alive. Let me see.
I know that was on my list. I don't think I ever ended up watching it. I definitely saw It Stains the Sands Red.
Is that the lesbian couple in the woods?
What Keeps You Alive?
I did see that.
So?
I liked that, I think.
I haven't seen it, so.
Let me see. Canadian.
Involve a female married couple attempting to celebrate their 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
It's got the girl from this movie in it.
Yeah. Oh, that's where I saw her before. Okay. Yeah. I think I liked it, but it was sad.
Okay. So Extraterrestrial is the story of some friends that go to well, I should probably play the trailer first.
Oh yeah, we do that.
Yeah. All right, here's the trailer. Nope. No. Come on, what's going on here? It was just here. Where did it go?
It's probably on that button that plays the other button.
Oh no! I gotta friggin' scroll. Now I gotta friggin' scroll through all the friggin'. Here we go.
We're in trouble and need help.
What happened?
I know that this is gonna sound crazy, okay? We saw something crash in the woods.
What the hell?
No way.
This is definitely not an airplane.
Look at this! Are those footprints? There's someone in the house.
Or something.
What is that? Oh my god! We were attacked. Get in the car!
Aliens. I should have known. Ever since Roswell, the U.S. government has had a treaty with the extraterrestrials.
What kind of treaty?
It's a basic, simple agreement with one cardinal rule. Do not engage. And you engaged.
We have proof that life on another planet exists.
It abducted our friend!
Tell them the truth.
Did you test experiments? There's hundreds of people still alive up there.
She was taken from me.
They're coming!
It's gonna get stuck! I don't want them to take me.
We are gonna die in here.
You shot one of them. Now they're out for blood.
No! You can't take me!
They're out there, and they're watching.
Okay, so before we get into this,
All right.
I have a problem with the trailer, with the way it lays the story out.
Okay.
And I didn't realize I had this problem until it was just laid so bare. So there's a Men in Black style treaty between the aliens and the humans that as long as we don't attack the aliens, they won't do anything to us. Nobody fucking knows that except the government. So the aliens should also know, don't go up to unexpecting humans because they're going to freak the fuck out. Like, this is a two-sided thing. This isn't just we won't shoot you and you won't eat us. It's their intelligent life from another planet. They can understand we shouldn't scare the local fucking fauna. That was a problem. Also, the other problem I have is if you know that this is happening, you would have in national parks and any remote area, fucking Brown Mountains even, mobile task forces, rapid response teams, and it wouldn't take 8 fucking hours to get there. Because I could go to Logan and get to California in 6.
Right.
Through commercial airlines. And if you had what are they, C-130s, like the huge planes, you could drop tanks and people and all kinds of shit out of those things. And also, the government didn't notice a huge fucking spaceship crashed into the ground in a huge fiery explosion. There's a few things I have a problem with right off the bat. The treaty is the worst thing.
I honestly hadn't even thought of that because I hated so many other things going on in this movie.
The
starring
male,
Brittany
the
Allen,
male characters.
Freddie Stroma, Jesse Moss, Melanie Papalia, who was in the webcam movie we did a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, okay.
What the hell was the name of it?
Darkroom Post. The Den.
The Den.
The Den. That's
she was the star of The Den.
She was a moron in that movie.
Yep, she was a moron on this one too. Gil Bellows and then Michael Ironside cashing in a paycheck.
You know, he did all right. I liked him in this. It didn't feel as lazy as some other actors' stuff.
Fair enough. Like other actors in this movie?
Maybe.
So the film starts. We have a woman coming out of the woods in the pouring rain. She walks up to like a gas station, country store thing. And this immediately set the tone for me. She's banging on the door, and the guy comes over, and he's like, "Sorry, we're closed."
Yeah.
And she doesn't like, "I need your help. You need to help me." There's none of that. She's just like, "Please let me in." He's like, "Sorry, we're closed." And she's like, "Oh, okay." Like,
yeah, she put up a little bit of a fight, and the dude slowly reaches over and turns off the open sign and walks away. And it's like, okay, none of this is serious.
right.
Because
So she goes over to a phone booth there, tries to call the police at the phone. Well, does call the police at the phone booth. And then some lights appear and the phone booth disappears. Yep. And
then she went back in time and met Napoleon.
Then the local yokel from the store comes out and sees that the phone booth is gone, but then the phone booth falls from the sky and smashes into a million pieces.
Yeah.
And we're off and running.
That is a solid opening.
Except for the fact that, like, she didn't stress to him that she was in trouble, or, like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, she could have been like, "I need you to call the police."
Visually, this is a strong opening.
Visually, yes. Visually.
I mean,
when you start to try to put sense to it, and her kids have been taken by these aliens, like, you don't say, "My kids have been abducted by aliens." You'd be like, they took my kids. I need you to call the police. My kids have been taken, they've been kidnapped or
which
whatever.
indicates
like, she doesn't say that.
These aliens are active in this area a lot.
Yes.
So why isn't there a military presence ready to intervene and have some kind of diplomat be like, "Whoa, hey, you tall, skinny motherfuckers, like, calm down. It's an accident. You scared them. Back the fuck off."
Right. Not take everybody.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what it ends up being. Anyway, so we meet the sheriff, played by Gil Bellows, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And that's when we're introduced to April. Her and her boyfriend, Kyle, are going to... her parents are getting divorced, and they're selling the cabin they have up in the woods. So she's going to shoot some photos for it for the real estate agent to help sell it. But Kyle, who is an asshole and is her boyfriend... kind of like glamps himself along to it. Like, he wasn't like original. She was like, "I'm just going to go by myself," or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, no, I'll come with you. It'll be nice to get some R&R or whatever." And then this fucking asshole invites like 3 of their friends to come too without even asking her.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all to show us his character. I mean,
yeah. And all of their characters, because everyone in this film was a selfish piece of shit.
To be fair, though, he did have a plan, and it did make sense to do what he did in his young, unfully developed mind. The intention was okay because he proposes to her, and it was supposed to be a big thing, and it's a place that had meaning for her, and he thought it was all going to go well because they have this whole talk about, "We've known each other all our lives, and I know you inside and out," and blah 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 blah. And then she says something that is totally opposite. And I'm like, how well did you know her? Like, when I asked Ellen to marry me, I knew what the answer was.
Right.
It shouldn't be, for me, my opinion, and what only applies to me, is getting engaged shouldn't be a guessing game.
No, it shouldn't be. I agree. As a guy who's been married for almost 20 years and with his wife for over 22, 23 years now.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. But he did. And she says no, and she's like, "Well, I'm going to be moving," and this and that. And he's like, "Well," and then he just assumed that the other thing was like, she's like, "Well, I'm going to be moving to New York or whatever," and he's like, "Well, I'm not going to have time to transfer out of my classes."
I was okay with that because we've seen that before in other stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, and it does show that he, regardless of her answer, he still cares. I think the scriptwriter's intention was decent, but I don't think the actors pulled it off. There wasn't as much caring or understanding as there should. It was just angry and upset.
Right. And then you got the other male friend, Seth, played by Jesse Moss, who is that just annoying fucking.
Is he the one that looks
character.
like the Vicious Brothers?
Yeah, he had like the jean vest and the glasses. And the thing was, like, he wore these like nerdy glasses, but like they were trying to portray him like he was like this like angry, like kind of like punk rock guy.
I saw him as like that bass player from the hardcore band that will just fuck you up, but he's like super nerdy otherwise. You know what I mean?
Sure. Sure. But they show up and immediately they all just start drinking all the beers and it's so fucking pedestrian and just like lame.
And that dude really did just come off as like the dollar store version of the kid from Amateur Night in VHS.
Yeah.
And he was just
or any other number of characters that's supposed to be like the tough guy asshole.
Yeah, and he was just there to sow confusion into the events. It felt like.
And then you have Melanie, that's the dark-haired best friend who's just like an idiot. And her oh goddamn, man. So when her and April are out going through a walk through the woods and the dog they're walking the dog, and then the dog, do we ever even see the dog again?
I don't know.
No. So the dog runs away and they eventually catch up with the dog. But after that, the dog never even plays into anything ever again. We never even see the dog again.
Well, the dog was the smartest one. Just, shit's going
Took
down.
off.
I'm out.
Sure, hopefully. So they get to an area that's like fenced off and gated off with like lots of no trespassing signs. And of course, they're like, well, we got to get the dog. And you know what? All right, I get that.
Yeah.
The dog ran in there. You're not going to not go get your dog.
Right.
You're going to take that chance. I'm going to take that chance.
Oh, I would too.
Spark's running away. I'm going to take that chance. But you need to definitely be ready for some shit because the people in the woods aren't going to put that shit up if they really want you coming in.
Right.
And of course, they go in and it's a giant marijuana grow house.
Mm.
And this part pissed me off so much. Not that it was there because that made sense, but this chick, Melanie, is just like goes in and she's like, thank you, God. And I'm like, dude, this is not your weed.
No, didn't you
Like-
guys see the remake of Friday the 13th? Jason will come out and protect his weed stash.
Right. So like she goes over and starts like taking the bags of weed. And the whole time I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, there's some Russians that are going to pop out of the woodwork and slit your
There
throat.
is some meth-headed guy that runs this grow house that is going to just murder you for for being there.
Yeah.
It ends up being Michael Ironside,
Which is fine.
Yeah.
His
He
intro,
knew
I
April
liked his
growing up
intro.
and stuff.
His intro was pretty intense.
Agreed. He pulls the gun on them and like stuff. But so anyway, so he tells them the story about all the weird sounds and the weird lights and all that stuff. And fine, whatever.
And why would you could stay there and grow your illegal drug where the government is constantly surveying the area? If they are.
I don't know. So anyway, they go back to the house and dude, I don't even what the hell happens? Is that when the aliens show
They're
up?
arguing, they're outside, and then the ship the damaged ship comes down, burning up through the atmosphere, and it crashes.
Yep.
And they're like, what was that? And then, well, fucking something. It was something. Don't bother looking. Don't. Just don't.
No. And then the war then the ongoing bad decision after bad decision after bad decision.
There was one thing before the bad decision, though.
What was
when
that?
they go up to the ship, and we know that this is related, that the treaty goes all the way back to Roswell. The dude picks up the panel of the ship and turns, and it's sort of, but not exactly, a recreation of the photo that was in the paper. And he says that it doesn't feel like metal, that it's more like whatever material, like tinfoil or something. And that's how the quote unquote real ship materials were described. So it follows through, and then we're just off and running away from the point after that.
Yeah, so the aliens are coming after them. They make the mistake of shooting and killing one of them.
Now hold on.
Okay.
This 8-foot tall, skinny, slender man looking motherfucker shows up in a flash of lightning outside a double glass door. Of course he's going to get shot.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you. When I say they make the mistake,
Yeah.
meaning the mistake is where everything goes
And
to
the
hell from that
reveal
point
of
on.
the alien and the design of it, fine. Perfect. If I was still scared of alien invasions and abductions, not invasions, but the abductions, that would have scared the shit out of me. It was a good design. Having them taller makes them absolutely more menacing and aggressive.
Yep. So they're now running from them. They're trying to get away in the car. So eventually the cops show up. Now, there's also been a point where we learn that the sheriff's wife disappeared many years ago.
Yeah, and he still
And then
doesn't know what happened to her. Like,
yeah, they don't know what happened.
we know.
We know because then he figures it out when this random woman comes into the police station who'd been missing for many years, and she talks about how there's they took me. There's tons of people up there. Like there's they're holding all these people hostage or whatever, doing experiments on them. And so he's then puts two and two together that his wife has probably been abducted by these things. So there's a point where him and like the deputy show up, and the deputy is just the biggest asshole.
Yeah.
And being an asshole for no reason. And it's that like annoying, like these kids smell like they're on drugs, and they're a bunch of idiots, and you expect me to believe what you're saying, and like
yes,
just the like
you're the fucking police.
Well, yeah, I watched that American Nightmare docuseries on Netflix last night, and I ain't never gonna trust the police again. Not that I was anyway, but anyway. So like they take the kid that's the badass that had the gun, and like they put him in the back of the car, and then the aliens come down and like control their minds, and they make the sheriff blow his head off, and like
they have very powerful telekinesis and whatever.
Yes, and at this point I'm just so fucking annoyed. I'm just so annoyed.
I will say this movie did something that a much better movie did later,
which was
the reveal that he's standing under the ship outside where the edge of the rain is coming down.
Oh, yeah.
And that was done in Nope, but at a much later point where the ship itself, I'm using quotes, I'm not telling anybody what it is if you haven't seen it, where that is the danger, not necessarily the ship. You know what I mean? In Extraterrestrial. So like the same idea, but I think Nope did it much better because you already knew the danger and what that thing could do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it does.
But this did it first, so good for them. That was actually kind of creepy. Like, why is it raining here but not here? Oh shit.
Yeah. So needless to say, the aliens start picking them off one by one and abducting them one by one.
Easily.
Because
they're just dumb humans.
Yeah, and they're like not even smart. And then like Melanie like overdoses herself.
Yeah, she doesn't want to get abducted. No, that wasn't accidentally.
No, well, I thought it was because she's like, I think I took too many.
Oh, because it says here that she was trying to kill herself to
Well, if she was, the line they had her read was, I think I may have taken too many.
Oh. Well, that goes against.
Either way.
All right, fine.
Just one more issue. So, they've taken everybody now at this point except for April. And they left her behind for whatever reason. It's never really explained. But then she starts shooting fireworks at the ship. And they come back and take her.
I'm going to be honest. That with her firing off the fireworks, the Roman candle runs out of shots and the ship is still going away. That's where this should have ended.
I agree.
Or
it should have ended when the other ship shows up and takes her.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think leaving her behind is so much meaner to do to the character because no one's going to believe her and she's traumatized, for life from this. And always wondering why didn't they take me would have been fascinating, I think.
Agreed.
She could have even been taken prisoner by a military task force. I keep talking about these things, but like there should have been one there if they're active in the area.
But they do not end the film there.
No.
And they absolutely should have because they could have saved some face. Because then we get this whole like 20-minute thing of her in the ship. And now this is something that drives me insane. And we've seen it in movies so many times. She wakes up and she's in the alien ship, which we're guessing is probably some sort of mothership or something like that. And she's surrounded by all of these other abducted people. Can someone explain to me why she is the one to wake up?
Yeah. Also, let me quote Janosch from Ghostbusters 2. Why am I drippings with goo? What is it with this fucking black goo everywhere? Why are these aliens so fucking messy?
Yep.
I don't understand it. It's not a nanotech goo that's like examining them or changing their DNA. It's just like grease.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Whatever.
With Giger's alien work, like it had a shape and a design, and you could tell, oh, this is a hallway, but it's made out of bones. Fine. What is the purpose of the wires and the goo and the half-assed set pieces here? There's no design reason for that to happen. There's no functional reason for her to be, or anybody to be strapped to a table in the middle of a room in a spaceship. Like, that room would be a lot smaller because of the space it would need for the rest of the ship. It's just too... It's too theatrical.
It's about the mood, and I honestly didn't even get
a small room.
I didn't even get that far, man, because I wanted to be like, why is she the one that's awake? I mean, I get it. She's the main character of the movie. She's the one that has to be awake, but there's no reasoning for her to be awake when everybody else is comatose or sedated or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, why is she the one person that is awake? Like, you give us a reason where she's, strapped to a table in a room or something, and something goes wrong and it wakes up and she's awake that way. She just wakes up.
Yeah.
Like the Matrix, the millions of people that are like being used as the batteries in the Matrix, but they are able to release Neo. So we know why Neo is the one that's awake.
Well, yeah. There's like a whole 40 minutes of that beforehand.
Right. Why is she the one person that's awake? And then with the hundreds of people, she manages to find the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And he wakes up.
Yeah.
And then in the most frustrating, annoying, stupidest part of this movie and of many movies I've seen in quite a long time, because you're supposed to hate the Seth character because he's the bad dude and he's angry. So they're doing their experimentations on him. And of course, we get to have a nice bird's eye view of his anal probe. Like, you really, like, the joke of the anal probe being abducted, like, we've all seen it, we've all heard it, like,
yeah.
And it is just so fucking dumb.
Oh, it's lazy at this point, isn't it? Like, what the fuck can you learn going up there?
Even if it doesn't matter, like, in, like, the idea that like, we got to see the guy that you were kind of meant to hate, make sure you see him get the anal probe. Because he's definitely an alpha male and he doesn't like butt stuff, so it makes it that much even worse or whatever.
It's all homophobia, isn't it? Isn't that what it all comes down to?
Yeah, it's exactly what it comes down to. It's lazy, it's cheap, it's stupid.
It's the only way to rape a man without using the mouth.
I hated it so much. Yeah. I hated it so much. So the two of them are trying to get away, and then the aliens find them. And they cuddle each other, and then the aliens are like, oh, well, these two have love for each other, so I guess we'll release them.
They should have just shot them or broken their heads apart with telekinesis or something.
None of this movie should have happened past the point of them being abducted. Like, it should have ended there. None of this means anything. But then, to make it even fucking worse, they release them.
Yeah.
Drop them back in the forest together.
Yep.
They've, and then the other thing, too, again, when she finds him, she's now had this change of heart of like, no, we should be together, and I should have said yes when you proposed, and we are meant to be together.
I mean,
whatever.
Stress, Speed,
trauma, whatever.
In Speed, they said that. Remember the Keanu Reeves movie there? That it's like trauma bonding, where you get you feel closer to the people you're with, regardless of how you felt before, that kind of thing. So okay, fine. They're in a manic state, and
fine,
sure, but. It was so fucking sugary sweet at the end.
So dumb. They wake up holding each other in the forest in like this nice grassy field.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. So they get up and they're like, all right, I guess we're going to get back to life after this. And lo and behold, they come through the tree lines. They see the military there. Then they're like, hey, help us, help us. And the military just fucking kills them.
That's because there's two crazy people running out of the woods at a military encampment. Like, they'd be shot regardless.
No, I don't think they would.
I don't know.
They would turn the guns on them and they would say, stay right there, don't move. And then if they continued to move, they would do something.
Yeah, if it wasn't an alien thing, if these guys are a support team for, cleaning up alien stuff, then they're cleaning up.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point is they don't say anything. They just kill them immediately.
Right, but what's his face? Michael Ironside says that the military and the government is they're in an agreement. So if the aliens are trying to kill them, you should think the humans will too.
Right.
Just don't run at them, or just wait and watch. That's what I would have done. I definitely.
Well, they didn't run at them. She just like
she ran.
No, she didn't. She came out walking. She was like, "Hey, we need your help. We need your help. We need your help."
You need to look again. She ran out of the woods. Hey! And they shot. The other dude was walking. But also, you get shot with that caliber gun, it's going to push you back.
Yeah. Either way, I fucking it defeats the I get why they did it.
Yeah.
But it's just stupid.
Yeah. I don't. A lot of people complain about the endings of movies. And most of the time I'm like, well, how the fuck else is it supposed to end? But for this one, definitely should have left her behind and just take them away.
Yep.
And that would have been great.
Yep. Because then just when I think it can't get any worse, we pull back and you've got your military cleanup, your anti-alien task force that are all wearing jumpsuits that say Project Blue Book on them.
Yeah.
And in what can only be called a pseudo cameo moment, they have a man standing there in a black suit lighting up a cigarette who vaguely looks like the smoking man from the X-Files.
Yeah, but to be fair, it is, what's his name? Graydon Clark, who was Houston in Grave Encounters, and he was also in that Legion show. I like him. I was happy to see somebody I recognized, but yeah, the smoking man's overseeing it because he's fucking smoking, isn't he?
But it's in this attempt to make it an attachment to the X-Files or whatever.
Yeah, but that's the whole mythology.
He's not even listed in the cast either.
He's a man in black, so he could be the go-between between the aliens and the humans. He could be a totally different race of alien.
You were giving this movie way too much fucking credit.
I've been thinking about it a lot.
You've been giving this movie way.
No, well, yeah, I know, but I have my.
You're explaining away things that they made fuck ups on. Then you're making excuses for the filmmakers.
Well, I mean, he's wearing all black, and the military's reporting to this non-commissioned.
Well, yeah,
human.
that's the point. My problem is that it's they tried this cheap attempt to attach it to the X-Files.
But the X-Files takes it from the myths of the Men in Black that came before the movie. So that's what the smoking man is. He's a man in black.
You're a man in black.
But yeah, the most recent connection would be the X-Files. You are right about that.
It's specifically so they're specifically trying to attach. It doesn't matter. What's your grade, and do you recommend Extraterrestrial?
I'm gonna give this a D plus.
That's better than I thought you'd give it.
Because
actually, I don't know. The way you were talking about some stuff there, I was afraid you were going to actually recommend it.
No, because well, there are things that I like, but the characters ruin this for me. They are fucking assholes the whole time. They make stupid decisions that people their age wouldn't make, even under stressful situations. But I liked a lot of the ideas they had for hiding and revealing the aliens, showing them what they looked like, what they could do, how fast they moved. There was a lot of stuff that I did like, but overall, the characters ruined the fucking thing. That's why. Mackenzie Gray. Who's Graydon Clark? He's another director, isn't he?
Yeah, Graydon Clark did Black Shampoo.
Oh, and, yeah. So his last name,
the Film Freaks.
His last name is Gray. Mackenzie Gray. That's probably where I screwed it up. That's the guy that played Houston that I was talking about. Houston Gray. So there we go. Jeez. So yeah, I think maybe if we had taken the characters from the first movie and put them into this one, we could have had a good movie. That's all. That's it.
All right.
The script wasn't these characters felt like the first 20-25 minutes of Grave Encounters 2, which I skip every time I watch the movie.
Fair enough. I'm not recommending this. No, this movie made me angry. It's the shining example of a director or directors getting a hit under their belt that people really loved, being given a bunch more money, and then just pissing it away.
Well,
because this movie looks fine.
Yeah.
Like, it looks fine. The special effects are cool, but the writing is terrible. The acting is terrible. And their little like attempts to like be funny, like the anal probe thing, and then the X-Files guy at the end of it, like comes across more insulting and more stupid than it does like smart and witty.
Yeah.
So if he gets an F from me, an F for fuck this movie.
Wow.
I really, really did not like this movie.
Huh.
And it made me appreciate the other one a lot more, because after watching the other one, I was like, I didn't really like that. Then I watched this and I was like, wow, the other one's pretty good.
That was the only reason I put the two together, because I was wondering back to back how they would feel.
And now you know.
I do. Sorry.
Now you know. I hated it.
On Mackenzie's Wikipedia page, Extraterrestrial isn't even listed under 2014.
I don't think it was actually him.
It had to be. Didn't it look just like him? And it's the same. I'm going to find out.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be, because they were very much purposely making it supposed to be him. But I don't think it actually was. Like, on the IMDb, like, there's I'm trying to see.
Oh, here it is in the trivia. Okay.
It is him?
Hold on. I got to pop up. Let me get rid of this. There are actors in Extraterrestrial that were in Vicious Brother Films' Grave Encounter: Sean Rogerson and Mackenzie Gray. And then it says plays the smoking man right at the end of the film. But Sean Rogerson was in it? I didn't notice him.
He's not listed in the... Oh, yeah, he's Deputy Mitchell.
Oh!
He was the deputy.
Shit. Well, he looked different.
Well, yeah, he was playing a fucking redneck hick.
But that's nice. I like when there's... Houston was fantastic in Grave Encounters. He was so funny. And one of the few people I felt bad about when he was killed. So I like seeing him show up, because he's one of those new, that guy kind of Al Leung kind of guys. Leung. I don't know how to say that last name, but like you see him and you're like, I know that guy. So I like that. I like when they do that. Anyway, not the point.
All right. Let's move on. Speaking of knowing that guy, Joe, I know that guy. And he's doing the 4th Hellraiser film this week.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris. And hello, OTC Nation. Boy Joe here, and this week Bill took me to space. I don't know how many times that's happened over the course of this whole thing, but this has got to be at least the 3rd or 4th time. Because he made me watch Hellraiser Bloodlines. Well... at least it's free on Amazon Prime. I didn't mind paying $2.99 last week to watch Hellraiser 3 because it's one of the more enjoyable entries, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. I bought a ticket to see Bloodlines in the theater in 1996 for the, I don't know, week and a half that it was there. But then I also bought it on VHS. So call me cheap if you want, but as much as I'm one of the 17 people who likes this movie, I think I've already paid enough money to it.
Fair.
Please bear with me if this gets more rambling and disjointed than usual. I stayed up to watch the Royal Rumble last night. Me and some of my Michigan indie wrestling contemporaries got on a PS5 party, watched it together, and had a blast. I say it was a blast.
I thought it sucked
until
this year.
I stayed up 3 hours past my usually stringent bedtime of 9 p.m. because I'm old and lame. There's no point to this other than if you're listening to this and you're under 30, I'd like you to appreciate the ability to deviate from your routine and not need like 3 days to recover while you can.
So true.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Before we start the beginning of the end for the Hellraiser franchise, I'd like to address the Adam Scott in the room.
Yeah.
He has mentioned a few times in different interviews that he's embarrassed by having been in this movie. Now,
I can see that.
I like Adam Scott.
Me too. I
think he's funny. He's dry. He's like a modern day Bob Newhart. I mean, hell, Parks and Rec is one of my favorite all-time TV shows.
Step Brothers, he's
Adam,
really funny in that.
Bubby, Everyone gets their start somewhere, and nobody should ever be embarrassed by having been in a movie. I mean, except maybe everyone involved in the Adventures of Pluto Nash, but that's the exception.
I don't even mind that one.
I mean, if Piranha 2, The Spawning never happened, we wouldn't have James Cameron's body of work. Without the curse of Michael Myers, we wouldn't have Paul Rudd goofing his way around, being all likable and shit. And we would have never gotten Furiosa in Mad Max Fury Road if Charlize Theron hadn't taken a one-line part in Children of the Corn 3, a movie that was about as fun as a botched vasectomy.
Yeah.
But there's a movie to watch here. Boy, I can't even just look at the Miramax logo these days without putting a finger under the collar of whatever shirt I'm wearing, giving it a slight tug and going, Glaven. Sorry. I said before, I'm one of the small number of people who enjoy this film. But I just discovered something that made me enjoy it even more. After the obligatory, it's a horror movie from the mid-90s, of course we're in space, intro, we go back to the 1700s in France, where two libertine degenerates, one played by the embarrassed Adam Scott, they ice a street urchin, they de-skin her, and they raise a demon to fill that now deflated person balloon. As the old dude is chanting all ominous-like in Latin to raise the demon Angelique, he says, Spectare noviculum suavis, over and over and over.
Rico.
I never gave it a thought until today, and then I used Google Translate. Spectare noviculum suavis means, look at that sweet boat. To say that I cackled uncontrollably until my wife checked on me would be understating things. Nothing in this movie will be better than shouting, look at that sweet boat, to raise a demon. Hey, you remember that shitty kid from the TV movie remake of The Shining? The one who was so annoying that I was rooting for the ghosts? Well, he's the shitty kid in this too. That is all.
Maybe.
Wait,
I have
more
a theory.
thing. Every time the kid is in peril in this movie, I'm like, yes, 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 please. Fortune favors the bold. Do it, coward. But alas, the story continues. The middle section, the one that takes place in the 1996 present day, is probably where this movie loses the majority of its audience. While it does have the majority of Pinhead, and like Part 3 has a lot of great Shakespeare, if he were like a melodramatic 90s goth guy dialogue, the rest is boring, vaguely horror adjacent storytelling that feels on the bad side of straight to video. The early stuff, set in 18th century France, is beautiful and gothic and cool and really well shot, and the set design is fucking gorgeous. And I'd like to remind everyone that Adam Scott is in it. He accepted the job, he got paid, and added to his resume thanks to Hellraiser Bloodline.
Yeah, he
at
gave it what he had, too.
While the immortal Alan Smithy is credited as the director, he's the most prolific fucking director of all time. I'm looking at you, special effects artist Kevin Yeager. Be embarrassed all you want, Chief. At least you didn't direct Leonard Part 6.
Oof.
But yeah, the 1700s stuff is pretty great. It's actually kind of the best part of the movie. The stuff in the present, which is now nearly 30 years old, if that doesn't make your back and knees hurt, I don't know what will. It's good only when Doug Bradley is chewing the scenery like my chickens chew on a bowl of hot oatmeal, which I promise you is actually kind of more entertaining than the present day stuff in this movie. The stuff in the future, which opens the movie and is probably the last half hour-ish, is on par with the slew of horror franchises that played follow the leader by taking things into space for some reason. I can only guess that like sometime around 1993 or 4, there was like a huge sale on futuristic prop stuff and maybe like a few warehouses that were already like prepped and ready for shooting that kind of thing. Like, hey, y'all, come down to Big Ed's warehouse of future shit. We got pipes. We got metallic storage crates. We got more steam than a turn-of-the-century factory that uses child labor so callously that it would make Charles Dickens sweat. And all the movie studios collectively said, please take as little of my money as possible. Regardless of all that, and the fact that this should always have been a straight-to-video production, it feels straight-to-video in the best way, in the fun way, in the way that we all kind of like straight-to-video. Most of it's obviously tacked on to rack up a few more deaths, but honestly, I'm not mad at it. We end with a goofy light show. Pinhead is tricked by modern technology. It feels like a bit of a rushed end. Here's the thing. The good. Adam Scott cannot be given enough credit for his performance, and it's about time that it gets brought back to public attention. Let the world know that Adam Scott was in this film. Also, as is par for the Hellraiser franchise so far, the death and gore is inventive and cool. Its strengths either nullify or supersede its weaknesses. The bad. It's definitely got its weaknesses. This was the last Hellraiser that Clive Barker had anything to do with it, and his touches are just like nowhere to be found. I'm not sure exactly what he did on this movie, but it wasn't much. Probably just a quick conference call. Yeah, sure, go ahead, and that was it. And then he got a producer's credit.
Yeah.
Hellraiser Bloodline ends the first era of the Hellraiser films. And honestly, it's a fine ending. If you haven't seen this in a while, go back and watch it. Like, it's not as bad as you remember. It's actually pretty good. I guarantee you have seen much worse crap than what this film is. Bloodline gets a pass. Something I probably won't be able to say again for, I don't know, at least a month or so. I'll be back next week with Hellraiser Inferno, a.k.a. Inferno, but hey, why don't we just add Pinhead to this already fully written script?
Yep.
Until then, be good, everyone.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
I was just looking up Adam Scott. He was born 363 days after me.
Okay.
That's neat. Also, this came out the same year as Leprechaun in Space, and I can't think of any other horror movies set in space that came before this. They like started off on Earth the way Hellraiser did. Because Jason X was like 2002 or 3 or something like that. So that could have been, there are some good ideas in it. I like the idea that you have to change the lament configuration and have it bend light in order to defeat them, like something that's impossible. I love that idea. It was a weird movie, though. I did see it opening day in the theater, though.
I don't remember it at all, so.
I've seen it. I've watched it maybe last year at some point to be like, well, how bad was this? Oh, my God, it's Ben.
Anyway, speaking of not remembering things, here's Reverend Scott.
Yeah. In an English cottage, 4 young people from London move in together seeking to challenge social conventions and their own tolerances by engaging in scheduled partner swapping. I'm like, all right, I could do that. I don't remember saying that.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
With Reverend Scott.
I have a wooden duck issue.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott.
Flawless execution.
Well, I have done that a few times. And welcome to the low effort part of the show. Not for me, of course. I'm actually doing something right now other than sitting around and listening to other people's hard work.
Other people you can fuck. Reverend Scott, thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
And I have some heroes and a half shell to talk about today. But before I do that, let's discuss everything that you did wrong last week.
Good.
Starting with
Honeymoon 2014. Whoops, I hit the wrong button there.
So this has Jon Snow's wife and some guy named Luke Treadaway. Oops, my bad. It's actually Harry Treadaway, his twin brother. Probably would have been a fun fact about the movie to mention last week had you not been sleepwalking through the review.
I don't know
what the hell happened, what the heck's going on. I was sleepwalking. I must have sleptwalked out there.
You know what? It was the first review. It happens to the best of us. I mean, not me, but like the best of some of us. And I guess that's kind of like the twin husband in this movie. Maybe he didn't do things exactly as he would have had he been able to do things over again.
But you know what? That also makes it feel real.
Oh, yeah.
I think. Because, putting yourself in that situation, you don't know how you would react. You might not react the right way. You might want to react the right way, but you might not. Right. It's just how it is. That's life.
So anyway, these two are on a vacation/honeymoon in the cabin in the woods. And as we all know, nothing ever goes wrong in a cabin in the woods.
That's not good.
Never good.
After that, we find out the real reason this whole situation is so terrible.
She's going to make him breakfast. She's like, oh, I made French toast this morning. And he's like, what's burning? And it's just, the bread is just put on the griddle. Yeah. Like, it's not dipped in the batter. He's like, he's like, you didn't dip in the batter. She's confused with him as to why he's having a problem with this. Yeah. She's like, it's okay though, I made coffee. And then he goes to pour the coffee out and it's just water.
That's right. She made him a bad breakfast. How this man didn't find out about her lack of breakfast cooking skills prior to the marriage is beyond me. That's like dating 101, bro. It's like he doesn't even know her anymore. And apparently, neither of you knew her either.
Is this his wife? Is it not his wife? Mm-hmm. Who is she? Where did she come from? What's going on?
Dude, how the fuck should I know? These are things you're supposed to know. You saw this fucking movie, not me. But irregardless, I'm gonna give it a grade anyway. I give Honeymoon a B+, and the review? It gets a B+ as well, despite the low effort. Yeah. Moving on.
The honeymoon is over, Chris.
Okay.
And we're going to move on to see if you have starry eyes.
Ooh. Gross. So unlike that last flick, I've actually seen Starry Eyes. Granted, it was probably 10+ years ago, so given your track record, I probably retained about as many details about this movie as you have. Oh. So if I recall, this stars Alex Esso, however you say that, from the recent Joe review of Dr. Sleep, where she played Wendy Torrance. She was also in Midnight Mass. So needless to say, she's been choosing some great acting roles since this flick. Yeah. And in this movie, she's an inspiring actress. So much so that she'll do almost as much as Bill to get a role.
I'm going to have to blow this old guy.
Right.
So is it worth joining the Hollywood machine?
I haven't spent a ton of time in LA, but I've got friends out there and people that I've worked with out there, and this is what it's like. This is it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little exaggerated.
Oh, is it?
I don't want to give a whole lot away.
Is somebody getting murdered at your place, Jack?
I'll tell you what. Let me do something about this.
Is he gonna hang his dick out the window?
Shut the fuck up! There you go.
Anyway, she's doing auditions, and after having a total meltdown, she looks her way into the role of her life.
Because they're trying to find the right person, and the right person is gonna do certain things.
What transpires after is the most realistic part of this film. We all know it's a giant demon cult filled with murder and sacrifice. It's about time we stop pretending that it's not. And for that reason, I give Starry Eyes an A-, and the review gets a B for some reason. All right, enough about 2014 movies you saw. Let's talk about a 2014 movie I saw. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, directed by the modern master Michael Bay. The man that made sure for over a decade that if you wanted to be a blockbuster movie star in a toy franchise, that you had to be willing to do just about anything.
I'm going to have to blow this old guy.
Right. But luckily for all of you, I'm only bringing up the TMNT remake in reference to a newer movie that I saw recently, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This CGI animated movie kind of mimics a hand-drawn art style that really looks unique. On top of that, it features real teenagers for the voices of the Turtles. Now, of course, we get some backstory on the Turtles and Splinter, but luckily it's brief. I think it's kind of like Batman at this point. Even a newborn fetus knows that fucking story.
I get it. You had a life and a history before me.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's part of who you are.
Right. I don't have to like it, but I understand it.
And the basic story of this film is about being an outcast, wishing you could fit in with everyone else, even though you can't. When everyone else sees you and immediately says,
"Yeah, I don't like it." I mean, I understand it and I accept it, but I do not like it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Whether you're a giant pizza chowing Ninja Turtle or a high school aspiring reporter in yellow clothes that throws up when you're on camera. Now, granted, this isn't the April O'Neil that you may be used to from your childhood.
Hey, those D's, they're big.
Double D's. Ooh.
But this April just makes a lot more sense for this particular story. You also get a lot of the classic villains like Baxter Stockman, who created the green ooze that we all know and love, Bebop, Rocksteady, and many more. Even a shocking twist one at the very end. This movie is fun, action-packed, incredibly animated, and has a real story that likely will resonate with adults and kids alike, regardless if you have a shell on your back or not.
Fucking shut up.
And it teaches a lesson about how we shouldn't judge others solely on what we see on the surface. At least I think that's what it was supposed to be. I just like all the kicking and punching and the ninja rat. I enjoyed this quite a bit, especially after the last few letdowns from Michael Bay. So I give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem a B+. I recommend you check it out if you haven't already. Or don't. I'm not your master Splinter. Okay, that's it for this week. All this segment making shit is exhausting.
That's not compatible with life, human life, you know?
Oh, I know. But until the next not compatible segment, peace and love, guys. Outside the cinema with Bill and Chris.
Hey, listen. We know we're bad, but we're not as bad as Reverend Scott. So maybe help us out here.
You know who else is not as bad as Reverend Scott? Almost everybody else.
All right, we made it through. Next week, season finale. Top 6, bottom 6 films we reviewed on the show for the past year.
Yep.
According to my list here, we have a total of, as I said, it is less than the previous years because for the first time ever, we missed shows. Super not psyched about it, but that's, what it is.
15 years is a pretty damn good record.
85.
You have a list of them?
Yeah.
Can you forward that to me? So I don't have to go back and research all of them.
Maybe.
All right.
We started with X-Ray, and we're finishing with Extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a list on IMDb that I always do.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can send it to you, no problem.
Great.
All right, cool. Thanks guys for hanging out. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/outside the cinema.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I got nothing else. I have to pee real bad, so.
Okay.
All right, guys. Everyone enjoy whatever you're doing. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.